We're back, folks.
Yep, here we are again. Nobody came get us, so
No, we're okay.
we're okay. Let's say a short prayer. God, there's a lot of people out there, Christians, being crucified and standing up for their beliefs. But the world is certainly turned upside down. And we're in a battle for just the human race, not just our country, but just the human race. And we ask for your intervention, and we know you'll do that when the time comes. And if not, we know what else is coming. So in your name we pray, amen.
What I was talking about before we ran out of time was the fact that ISIS captured a Catholic priest and crucified the priest on Good Friday as an example. Now, the problem that is becoming apparent is the Pope condemned opposition to the Islamic invasion of Europe. The Pope made statements that he wants to fight ISIS with love. He did not condemn ISIS nor make any comments that condemned their actions for crucifying one of his priests on Good Friday. The other issue that was the Pope can do what the Pope does, but the problem is when you are seen on worldwide TV washing the feet of Muslims, all of the Islamic State and every Muslim in the world took that as a sign of Muslim supremacy and Catholics serving indemnity to Muslims. And I find it highly ironic that we are in a worldwide conflict with ISIS and Islam, yet the Pope condemns opposition to Islam. But is the Pope correct? Because we had 8 crusades, Jim, under Pope Urban II, then Pope Calixtus II, and then Pope Innocent III. So why is it that these 3 popes had Catholic masses and blessed the knights' weapons before they went into battle, but this current pope does not speak out when one of his own priests is crucified and says, we have to condemn our opposition to the Islamic invasion of Europe? What is going on? Jim, I just don't understand. I just don't understand.
Well, when you look at everything, the overall picture today, you're right. There's 535 idiots in D.C. that are supposed to be working for the people. That whole thing is lost. And we have proven on this show why it's lost. Until the lobbyists and the big money and corporate, we are actually, and I heard this some time ago, and I've given it more thought recently. We are actually corporate slaves. We are slaves to the corporation world in the United States.
That is true.
When we read off what all them Boehner and all them people got paid, and it was like every time, I've said this every week, I think, it was like a wake-up call to me. My government couldn't do that. My government couldn't do this. My government couldn't do that. And I'm like, the further I got into this with the help of Brett and Tom and other people and my own research, I'm going, holy cow. I saw a picture of the Pentagon today for 9/11, and for the first time, I looked at that picture and I blew it up, and I said, the holes like this and the wings on a plane are this.
You know what I call that? What I call that is the CSI Gil Grissom theory. Gil Grissom was the original character on CSI, okay? And I always admired what he said, because he always said the evidence tells the story. And if you go back and look at the Pentagon, it's a very simple thing. Firstly, the size of the plane alleged to have hit could not have made the turn even with an expert pilot. It's irrelevant what they try to say, because it would not have mattered
But
if the best
doesn't
fighter
matter
pilot in the
about
world.
the turn.
No, yes, it does. Because just that part invalidates the fact that a plane is alleged to have hit the building, because the plane couldn't make the turn to line up on the flight path it made. Then secondly, physical evidence. No bodies were found, no airplane parts were found, no dent from a tail section that stands 3 stories in the air, no wings, no motors. What they found
But I'm
were
telling
Predator
you, I
drone
looked at that picture
parts.
today, thinking about what y'all
Oh,
told
and wait,
me.
what did the film show immediately after the crash? People were in the yard picking up evidence. We have a major terrorist act where a plane strikes a building, and what are they doing? Contaminating the crime scene and taking evidence.
Sorry, boy, no plane hit it. It was a missile.
Well, the only problem is it wasn't really a missile, it was a Predator drone, because that's what the parts looked like. It didn't look like missile parts. The parts that the evidence showed were drone parts. Now, it could have had a missile on it when it hit to make the explosion. But, and by the way, the section of the Pentagon that got blown up just happened to be the section that had the financial records of all of Timothy Geithner's Federal Reserve money. You know, all that money, they put pallet loads of $20 and $100 bills in shrink wrap that they sent to Iraq. Well, it had the records of where all that money went, and it just so happens that that bomb hit that and blew it all up. So we don't know where that money went. Ooh,
But it's
love it.
amazing. And I mean, for the first time, I really saw the picture for what it was. If you have one, I mean, we've all been to the airport, and we know them frickin' wings are.
And the engines that are bigger than this room in the tail section, none of those parts were found. So moving into more interesting things, does anybody find it interesting in the last 2 weeks that Cruz bought the rights to Melania Trump's swimsuit photos? Now, folks, I could really care one way or the other, except for the fact that Trump's wife is a whole lot hotter than Cruz's wife, number one. Maybe that's an issue, I don't know. But whether you love either one of them or hate any one of them, the facts are that Cruz bought the rights to Melania Trump's photos, then released them.
And
Why would you do that? She's a professional model. She poses in her underwear and everything. That's part of her job. Her behind is all, he didn't even have to buy the pictures because all of America went and saw them for free. You know? Now, what's true, they're all over the place.
The point of that thing, and you're probably going there, Trump is not the one that brought out the
Correct.
stuff on Heidi Cruz.
Now, let's bring out the stuff here on Heidi Cruz. She is a vice president for what evil regime? Goldman Sachs.
Do you know who, and through my people sending me stuff, do you know that one of the ex-vice presidents or presidents of Goldman Sachs is in charge of PayPal?
Oh, yes. Yes.
What do they call that?
Their big media group.
What's the media group? He's in charge.
I
of
don't
the
remember
media
what the
group.
name of it is, but he owns it. Oh, yeah.
And then if I say something to Cruz people, and look, I'm like him. We're not one way or the other. I have my
I'm just putting out the
opinions.
information. And here's the other fact, too. Goldman Sachs paid for the Cruz campaign. So, folks,
For the Senate. Clarify that. For the Senate.
so whether you love him or you hate him, he's in the pocket of the big bankers, folks. That's the facts. Now, here's something that's really scary. A week ago, a group of 17 armed Islamic men were found shooting off assault weapons in the California desert, yelling Allahu Akbar and scaring the countryside.
Did anybody get arrested?
Here we go. Nope. The feds were there. Victor Valley SO was there. They were all released as no crime was committed. Okay.
Freaking amazing.
It just gets better and better and better. Better and better.
It is amazing.
One of the things that I have here that I found was very interesting that people need to know. The communist organization Moms Demand Action has now pressured 5 businesses into caving to the anti-gunners. The Fresh Market is now anti-gun. Panera Bread, we've already announced, is anti-gun. Sonic is now anti-gun, but I don't understand how that will work, because in Louisiana, you are allowed by state statute to carry a gun in your vehicle. It is not a place that
Can't
you
go in the building.
Well, you don't go in the building anyway in a Sonic,
You can,
but you don't.
but you never do.
Name the last time you went inside a Sonic building. I've been going to Sonic for 40 years, and I've never gone inside the Sonic building, because you don't have to. It's a drive-in. That's the point.
Drive-in.
So the fact that they're anti-gun is irrelevant. Chili's. Folks, I would never go back to Chili's because...
No, stop. Read the whole thing on Chili's. Chili's said open carry.
Well, you know what? I'm still gonna have to go after them for that.
What I'm
But
saying is, it's concealed carry is okay.
yeah, but they're still on my hate list because they cave
I
to
just
mom's.
want the people to know.
Oh yeah, but they still cave to mom's demand action. Okay, so what are they going to do when a uniformed police officer shows up and wants to eat lunch at Chili's? Because that happens in New Iberia all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack in the Box also said not to bring guns into their establishment.
I always like Jack in the Box.
So
I
that
can't
that
tell
also.
the wife we're going to a French
So
restaurant.
folks, these businesses join with the two
Jacques
big
de
Louisiana movie theaters. The Grand Cinemas are anti-gun. The Buffalo Wild Wings and Carrabba's are all anti-gun. Folks, I think that we should do like the citizens of Colorado forced some other people to do, is that vote with our wallets. If they don't want our guns in their stores, then we don't need to go in their stores.
Sometimes you just forget when you go to these places.
I don't generally forget. I remember these things.
I was being subtle.
I'm not being subtle on this issue. This one gets right to the heart of the matter, and I find it very insulting and highly egregious after we have had a mass shooting in a movie theater for that theater and other businesses to want to go anti-gun after Lafayette citizens died. Whereas if one concealed carry person with training had been there, they might have averted this tragedy. But we'll never know because the Grand Cinema don't allow guns.
It's,
And by the way, security is also not present there very much
there is
either.
no security because we went to the movies.
Well, a good friend of mine went there, and there were some interesting Democrats there in the heat with trench coats on, and my friend had to leave his gun in the car, and he went and pointed out to management, those people are wearing trench coats in 80-degree heat. They look suspicious. Nothing was done. Nothing was done.
But the thing is, and what the public has to understand, where has every incident happened?
Gun-free zone! Gun-free zone, folks!
Give me a... This is a picture of Hitler and Obama.
The great Obama one.
And this is what
Our resident dope-smoking
I printed this.
leader.
Both took control over national healthcare systems. Both nationalized school curriculums and eliminated religion.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, this is Jerry. Hi, fellas. Talking about stores that don't allow guns, I swore an off of Walmart about a year ago after what they did to the Arkansas governor. Not to
Okay.
mention the other stores I don't go to for different reasons. But I'm glad you guys just gave those names. Those are on my cross-off list, too.
By the way,
Into any Mexican name restaurant that has illegals, because of what I've seen these illegals do in the streets. Now, I'm not talking about committing crimes. Just getting in the streets and daring the government to kick them out and then demanding things to which they're not eligible. That's what makes me angry about that.
and by the way, I have heard
I will
that
not go to any Mexican name place.
Walmart is supposed to be getting out of the gun business very shortly. And I think they're going to find that's going to be a mistake because there are a lot of people, including me, that go to Walmart to buy ammunition. I think they're going to hurt themselves with that.
Well, I hope so. I've got Walmart crossed off my list, and I will definitely not buy any ammunition and stuff from them.
Well, there's
Thanks,
plenty.
fellas. Thanks for telling me about those other stores.
You're welcome.
All right, Jerry, have a good one.
You too.
The echo,
The echo.
the voice from the past.
Here's our reporter. Follow the money. TSA spent $1.4 million on an app that only cost this guy 10 to reproduce. The information was made available promptly after Freedom of Information Act request was filed.
Well, you see, what happens, and Brock is correct, is that the government will spend all this money allegedly on something like that. This is like the old military would spend $200,000 on a coffee pot that goes in the B-52. What really happens is, and a lot of people don't know this, in the Clinton years, there was an effort made to audit the president's budget, because the president has his own discretionary budget that's called the black budget, no pun intended now that Obama's in the White House. But the issue is that is used to fund covert operations with special forces troops to go take extra legal actions that are off the books. And that's probably where that TSA money went.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Let's go back to this now.
the comparison with Adolf Hitler and Obama.
And you need to understand this, okay?
Does Obama speak German?
Both mock and remove God from public places. Both allowed the state to control child care centers. Both rapidly enforced and encouraged anti-gun legislation. Both militarized police forces and used military for homeland operations. Both established federal programs to spy on citizens. Both encouraged citizens to be paranoid of one another.
Get back to you.
Both made executive orders without proper approval. Oh, I don't think he hasn't done any of that, has he?
He has a pen and a phone, that's all he needs.
It says here in big letters, history will repeat. Wake up. And these are the things, I printed this out off of Facebook. This is stuff you should carry around and say, here, read this.
Speaking of
And
Obama,
it's not a joke.
let's talk about Obama's little trip to Argentina.
Oh my God.
Obama, the imperial president who loves to spend other people's money, wasted $1.4 million. He took 2 planes to Argentina, the Boeing 757 and then another 747-200. Yes?
Go ahead.
Hey, did y'all see that piece that Bob Bennett wrote on why they're trying to assassinate Trump?
Well, he's pretty much hated by everybody in power and nobody's making any money off of him, so that's a pretty good reason.
No, but it really goes in depth, and that's why I sent you a text message, Jim, that I want your email address. I'll send it to you. It's very interesting. I mean, it's long, but it's very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, my email, give it to him.
Well, hit him off. You can get him after the show. You might not want that out over the air.
You know my cell?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a call on that.
Yeah, we'll hit you after the show.
Well, I texted you a message. Just text it back to me. Okay? It's very interesting. All right, bye.
All right.
Bye.
So anyway, I was going down the misdeeds.
Who was that?
Sound like Sammy.
Huh?
Sound like Sammy.
Sam?
Obama used the big 757 Air Force One to stay at the airport, then used the smaller jet to go around. Okay. Just the lodging for El Jefe
Oh,
was $115,588. The conference room and other special rooms cost another $151,000. The cost of the Secret Service hotel rooms cost $120,000. Transporting the Secret Service, $707,000. Marine One flight cost $44,000. Other transportation, $125,000. We paid $141,000 for the freaking journalist to travel with Obama. And here's a good one. A contract that had to repair and maintain the pool bathrooms. $50,000. Now, this is in addition to the $17,000 and $18,000 gowns that Obama bought for his two darling little girls to wear. So when he talks about money that is wasted and things that are not paid the way they are, and people that are in poverty, folks, this is your Obama, especially if you're Democrat. You created this issue.
Right.
Oh, I don't know if we can consider naked goats as strippers. I don't know. I don't know.
Way to go, Brock.
I don't know
How
about.
many people sign their checks in cursive?
We all do.
In the very near future, they won't be able to do that.
Folks, here's an interesting case that I saw that I want to mention because it strikes home. It is an open carry firearms instructor who was attacked and he killed his assailant. Folks, as you know, I'm prior law enforcement and I believe in the open carry privilege, shall we say. On the other hand, I also have to add that after long consideration and seeing how things go, I believe that we should have the right to open carry, but we don't often need to exercise it because of what happened right here. And this happened in Mandeville, Louisiana. A clerk was being assaulted by an irate customer, and then the instructor unwisely followed the irate customer out to get the license number. Folks, one of the things that we have to learn as gun-carrying individuals is that we are held to a stricter standard of conduct, and this instructor has not figured out he is not the 5-0. It's none of his business if the guy was irate, mad, drunk, whatever. He didn't have a reason to get involved. To go outside and get the license plate number just escalated a situation. When you are carrying your gun concealed, unless you are confronted with life-threatening danger, you should avoid situations because you get entangled in legal fees and end up in situations that you don't need to be in. I often taught law enforcement classes, and even when I was carrying a badge, if I was off duty, many of the times I taught my classes that you had to be very careful what you get into because you are not on the job, you are not in uniform, no body armor, no backup, no radio, and when the armed, uniformed guys get there, they don't know who the good guy is. So right here, the police later identified the shooting victim as a Sean Breland of Folsom who was inside the store and got a little stupid. Another man inside the store who was carrying his open, visible firearm tried to de-escalate the situation. Why get involved? It's none of your business. If the guy wants to get irate with the clerk, it's up to the clerk. It's not up to the concealed carry.
Clerk to call security in the store.
So what happened is the deceased left but returned throwing what appears to be potato chips at the clerk. The shooter then follows the deceased out to get the plate, and when the deceased saw the shooter getting the plate, he exited the vehicle and physically attacked the shooter. The shooter had his gun carried openly, so guess what? The deceased on video grabs for his gun. Well, if it had been carried concealed, he wouldn't have seen it to be able to grab it. And then here comes the next thing. The only response that the shooter had was to shoot the person. I'm not saying it's not legal to shoot a person who is trying to disarm you of your firearm, but as police officers, we are taught hand-to-hand combat that is called defensive tactics and learn how to retain our weapons if attacked. And there are too many civilians who are of the gunner mindset. And I do not use the term gunner as a positive. It is a negative, because all they think they need to do is they strap on a gun and then they're Marshall Dillon with their little gun. They don't want to take the time to do other training such as hands, defense against knives, or anything else. So basically, the shooter put himself in a situation that was none of his business. A person would still be alive if he would have been carrying concealed and minded his own business. It is irrelevant in my case that I'm presenting that the shooter was justified in shooting the person, when morally, if he hadn't been an open carry guy, he would not have caused the situation and somebody died. Because ultimately, we are here to hold the sanctity of life sacred and to protect life, not to take it if we don't have to. And this guy, by doing what he did, caused a situation. Yes, legally, he will probably be ruled legally justified in shooting the guy. What if he'd have never stuck his nose in that business? What if he'd have stayed inside?
Really?
What if he'd have been carrying concealed and never got involved? I just think, folks, that I agree with open carry. But in this case, it did not deter the attack like proponents of open carry claim it will. It did not slow anything down. And a violent person, his life was ended. And this fella has to live with the fact that he took a human life when, because of a small ego, he didn't have to. He didn't have to. And folks, we talk a lot about use of force and a lot of these things at my meeting, which will be tomorrow night. And we can talk more tomorrow night about this. But folks,
I'll give you for instance, I was in a crowded McDonald's and saw an open carry guy with his 3 kids and his wife. And I'm going like, what are you trying to prove, bud? You know, no, not the biggest guy. I wanted to really go over and ask him, you know, why are you open carrying in a place like this with your family?
well, people have small egos. The other thing to consider, folks, in that vein, another reason why not to open carry. If true bad guys rob a place as a team, who are they going to shoot first? The first person they see carrying a gun. Mm-hmm. So right then and there, you have lost your surprise element. You have lost the initiator's advantage, because if you are carrying concealed and the bad guys don't know you are, you have the initiator's advantage if you choose to counterattack.
You see, and I was questioning, like, the festival's coming up, Festival International.
You can't carry a gun. It's against the concealed carry rules. Nope.
I told somebody that, and they said, bullcrap.
There's a law on the books, I cannot quote it right now, but there is a state law that you may not carry concealed weapons at any festival in the state of Louisiana.
Even a parade.
Yes.
Even a parade.
And I'm gonna tell you what, I knew the answer, but the whole thing
Now,
is they don't.
The
A lot
problem,
of the people don't understand that.
well, but it's plain in the concealed carry book. It's very,
Yeah.
very clearly laid out. Now, here's the rub. If, hypothetically, jihadis were to attack, where would they attack? A large gathering of people, such as a festival, and who's going to be there? Law enforcement, and they may be overwhelmed. But no civilian can go to help them because we can't carry our guns there.
That's why I don't
This is
go there.
interesting.
I don't go to festivals either.
I mean, I like going to Festival International because of the music, but Brock said he has a friend who works for I would say the Ville Platte.
No, that's Vermilion Parish.
Vermilion
VPSO.
Parish. He said he was trained to shoot to kill.
No, that is not correct, because any firearms instructor worth his salt knows that he will have to testify in court as to what he taught those deputies. And that deputy was incorrectly taught, because we are taught to stop, to shoot the threat,
That's what he said at
not
the bottom.
shoot to kill. Because you are going to have to
It's a good
testify.
question, though.
Oh yeah. Well, I was a police instructor for many years, and I was considered good at my job. And I taught my people that the proper doctrine and wording to be used is you shoot until the threat is neutralized. And you may take that any way you want. I will continue shooting a violent assailant who is attacking me until he can no longer attack me. And those are the words to use when dealing in court with district attorneys and other court officials, because the police are not there to kill people. They are there to protect government functions as prescribed by the Supreme Court. There's at least 3 different lawsuits that went to the Supreme Court because the 5-0 got there too slow. Guess what? The 5-0 has no duty to protect the public. The 5-0, by Supreme Court doctrine, is there to protect governmental functions first. So that is why, folks, this gun show that is coming up, it is incumbent on you to go to the gun show, get whatever you think you need to protect your family. And I'm going to tell you bluntly, a pistol is a defensive weapon. You do not use a pistol if you know there is trouble coming. If you look out the door of your house and 5 AK-bearing jihadis are crossing your yard and getting ready to penetrate your front door, you had probably not better grab the pistol. You might want to grab something a little heavier. And to quote someone, I have a good friend who learned of a story where a deputy sheriff was in the Appalachian country and was following some MS-13 gang members on the job. They got wind of him. They followed him home. Now, being the good, smart deputy that he was, he calls ahead to the wife and tells her to break out both of his pump shotguns, body armor, extra body armor for her, and all the shotgun shells that they've got handy. And their house was assaulted by a large group of MS-13 gang members with illegal automatic weapons. And he was able to promptly send them to meet the great taco department in the sky. Luckily, do you know that the local prosecutor tried to make hay of the fact he shot one of these illegal immigrants with illegal automatic weapons in the back who was trying to assassinate him and his family with a group? Really? 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 I think the term moron is applicable.
Yeah,
Now here's one that we bumped into that was pretty interesting, folks. I am not a union guy. I am not a Democrat. But right here, 448 union officials made more than $250,000 each in 2015. And beyond that number, 200 received more than $300,000 each. 56 got more than $400,000 each. 19 got more than $500,000 in compensation. Folks, you can put this any way that you want, but the unions are killing us. Folks, I don't know if y'all know this or not, but an American auto worker in Detroit was making more than $120 an hour assembling cars.
Jeez.
How you like that, folks? And just on this list here, we have the Pilot Association, we have the Directors Guild of America, Labor's Union, Boilermakers Union, SAG-AFTRA, which is actors, plumbers, AFL-CIO. Well, let's go back to the top. The Pilot Association, the attorney for them made $1,195,000. The Directors Guild, which is the actors, the Executive Director, $888,000. The Laborers Union, $672,000. Boilermakers President, $657,000.
Go ahead, caller.
I don't think we know how many. I don't think we know how many Syrians are right here in Lafayette already.
Neither does anybody else.
Because in Opelousas, I met a school teacher who teaches in Opelousas. She has 6 Syrian students in her class. That's one class in one public high school in Opelousas. That might give you an idea of how many are down there. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye.
So, folks, the problem we have right here is these big Democrat officials are making boatloads of money. Oh, and now here's a really good one. For those of you who watch the TV show The Five on Fox, Many of y'all have seen the beautiful and talented Kimberly Guilfoyle on The Five. What you don't know is who her ex-husband is.
Oh, the mayor of, I know.
He's the lieutenant governor of California, Gavin Newsom, who used to be the mayor of San Francisco.
Exactly.
Now,
It's kind of why she left.
he is running for governor next year, but here is what he wants to do. He wants to make people go under a background check to buy bullets.
To buy bullets.
And he is going to restrict the amount of ammo, and that they will have a database.
Quote unquote, this is California.
Now, the other thing he wants to do is to ban all possession of high-capacity magazines. All. There will be no grandfather. There will be no possession of any high-cap magazines by civilians whatsoever. Now,
I want to know something. Is he going to go into L.A.
not himself.
and tell those people in
Not
there?
himself. Now,
What's the neighborhood?
Compton. Now, let me tell you
I've
something.
been to L.A.
Something that I learned many years ago.
many times.
We have good news. The maker of the preeminent 50 caliber sniper rifle, Ronnie Barrett, is one of us. Ronnie Barrett, when he learned that his 50 caliber sniper rifle was illegal for civilian purchase in California, then refused to sell his 50 caliber sniper rifle to any police agencies. And he told his dealers if they sold a 50 caliber Barrett to a California police agency, he would strip their dealership and he would not honor the warranty, because he is of the opinion if the cops can have it, so can the civilians. And any place that
agree.
doesn't allow doesn't allow civilians to own a 50 caliber, because he feels that the Second Amendment is preeminent.
I have these other things. The things they're finding in Europe, in the mosque. We need to start doing searches in the mosque, because you have the open borders.
Kind of like France.
I was thinking about this the other day.
Look at the guns they
You have
found.
open borders. Some of the mosques they have discovered here. Why is there a big tall iron fence around the mosque on the UL campus? Why is that?
They're afraid of loose pigs because of all the cracklings that we make. They might get invaded.
It's on Taft Street, is what you meant.
Yeah,
It's
it's
right
right
on
off
the
of campus. It's right off of campus.
Right
next-
off of the campus.
Right next to the girls.
You might as well
Yes.
say it's on the campus. We discovered that when we were doing
Well, what a lot of
smart
people,
meter bill.
a lot of people don't understand that I went to college from '82 to '86, and when I was there has always been a very big Muslim student presence. Back then, it was Iranians, ironically, but we've always had a big contingent of Muslim students at the UL campus.
I'm going to change the subject here a little bit. You remember our friend Beth Mizell
Yes.
that got bit by
Oh,
our
yes.
lovely partner down the street, the Butthead? Will Cursive make a comeback in Louisiana? Get ready. At least one state legislator hopes so. Go ahead, caller.
I just wanted to comment on your Compton issue there. I've been through Compton, Crenshaw, Watts, Southgate, all the worst neighborhoods of LA, and they don't have nothing on driving through New Iberia.
Woo! I can tell you about that one. Yeah.
I used to drive. I had a friend that was lived right by Compton in Southgate, and we'd go there on the weekends to have fun. And but when I drove through New Iberia, I looked at my wife and said, "Get the gun out of the glove compartment."
Were you on Hopkins or Anderson?
That?
Were you on Hopkins Street or Anderson Street?
All of them. I was riding through, just kind of bringing back
Well,
memories.
caller, let me give you a little tidbit. In December of 2005, I was pulling security at Super One on Lewis Street in New Iberia. One of the rough neighborhoods, Ann Street, is only a few streets over. I was standing outside with the night manager, and we heard boop, 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 boop. And he was a recent returnee from the Iraq conflict. He says, ooh, the sound of an AK in the middle of the night makes me feel like I'm back in Iraq. And it was only coming from 2 streets over in the middle of Ann Street. Yeah, automatic weapon fire.
As a kid, I grew up and living around that area. My dad was renting a mechanic shop.
Yep.
As a little kid, me and my mom and my brothers used to walk down the street over there with no problem.
Oh, not anymore.
Now, I think I need to go armed and.
And by the way, caller, Abbeville has now caught up with Iberia or surpassed New
Exactly.
Iberia for violence.
Uh-huh.
No kidding.
Absolutely.
It was always interesting, caller, when I was on the job, if I would be at somebody else's house and the news would come on, violent criminal arrested in New Iberia, and everybody turned and look at me, you know, because I knew most of them, 90% of them I knew personally. And it was kind of a relief that Abbeville kind of surpassed us, so my people weren't always on TV.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't always having people look at me. Do you know that one? Do you know that one?
Okay.
I'm sitting there going, I can't talk about this. I can't talk about this.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the whole factor about the deal. But anyways, I want to get to this cursive thing because it's very interesting about that. But I know I've driven through Hopkins on my way out of town. I
Oh,
actually
yes.
have a customer that's up on that end, a vet that I go to. But I come in the back way.
There you go.
Well,
All right. You enjoyed your
many
honey?
places that scare me, but I wouldn't go through there just for a Sunday tour anymore.
I don't think so. You enjoyed your honey?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and about to pop out a baby
Uh-oh.
in a
Uh-oh.
week or two.
Look out.
Yeah, ours was delivered last Thursday, but
UPS,
the
huh?
grandchild
Yeah, UPS.
number 11.
You didn't know that the Stark wears a UPS uniform now, and you have to sign for it, and your kid has a barcode. Oh, yes.
I'm
Yep.
gonna make sure this one doesn't get any video games, and the kid's gonna grow up hunting and fishing and the old-fashioned way. And
Look out. Be careful. Child protection may come to get you. That sounds like abuse. Careful.
All right, buddy.
all right, see y'all later.
See you.
Later. Bye. I wanna read this because we did a big thing earlier. At least one state legislator hopes so about the cursive writing. You ready? Senator Beth Mizell, Republican Franklinton, has proposed a bill that will require schools to teach cursive writing. The bill is pending discussion by the Senate Education Committee.
It's okay. Karen Carter Peterson will say it's racist and will kill it.
She isn't in charge of the, another.
Yeah, but Alario did it diverted. It's
Some say
racist.
the skill isn't as relevant as in the 21st century. Do you understand that statement?
That
How
sounds
do you
like
sign a check?
something Karen Carter Peterson would say.
Trying to get rid of
With its influx of computers, smartphones, yeah.
The problem with eliminating cursive is you no longer have a signature. If you print your name, that's not a legal document.
Correct. You haven't signed it.
Correct.
Exactly.
Anybody can just print it.
Right.
But so it says with the influx of computers, smartphones, and other devices. That doesn't mean when I go to the bank to catch a check that my computer and the time is better spent on more technology-based here. Here's the deal, though. Scott Reichart, I know Scott, is the executive director of the Louisiana School Boards Association. I don't always agree with him, but said subjects such as cursive writing, art, and music, and listen to this, have sometimes received less attention because those elements aren't included on standardized tests.
That is double speak for Common Core doesn't get any
Exactly.
kickback money, so they don't care about it. It's not on the park test.
I mean, You know,
You just can't make this up.
first of all, why are we even having to do a bill? Oh, our goat herder.
Yes, goat herder.
Hey, you know why they want to teach them how to write cursive?
I'm
You
afraid.
can't read the Constitution, the original Constitution.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're
That's the way it's written.
Yeah, but goat herder, you're presupposing that these fools can read it all. They're right now licking their thumb and making their mark. They can't read anyway. Look at the NFL.
Yeah, well, they don't even know how to wear their breeches either.
Well, now don't be critical of that because I
I
told
am. I'm tired of looking at other people's drawers.
goat herder, I want people to be able to wear sagging pants because they can't carry weapons, they can't run, they can't fight, and they can't hide stolen goods because they're too busy holding up their pants.
World War III in Abbeville.
Well,
Just about. Just
Oh,
about.
man, I just got a passing in front of my house on the street.
Well, you could turn loose one of those lovely dogs of yours and see what they think of sagging pants.
They can't come close to the dog. They won't have any clothes left.
Well, then you won't complain about sagging pants. The dog will have the sagging pants. See, it's a win-win.
Oh yeah.
That cursive thing, that's just.
That's the craziest
really
thing
trying to
ever.
dumb down the kids, and they don't want them to do anything. They don't. The original Constitution is written in cursive, and if you can't read, they don't even interpret it for the reason and why in the time it was written.
Goat man, they don't even follow it whether it's cursive or not. Old Bummer does everything he can to go around it, and he would probably wipe his butt with it if he could.
Well, the whole thing is
they
that
couldn't
Yeah.
get it out the glass without breaking
they're
the glass.
not teaching that in school anymore.
They don't teach any history.
1887
Right.
is where they
Yeah,
start
I know,
teaching
I know.
history.
That's why I give my grandkids all kind of old books, like math books and anything I can put my hands on.
You got it.
What all you can do? It's all you can do.
I'll have to go clean some more guns.
Good man. Keep it clean.
All right.
I keep them clean, keep them ready to rock and roll.
There you go.
Here's a real quick one. Have a
Okay,
good
we'll
one,
catch
buddy.
y'all tomorrow night.
All right.
All right.
Adios, friends.
Bye. Here's a real good one. This is what every state should be doing. New Indiana law is pretty simple. Hire an illegal, lose your business license.
I'm going to bet you money that the federal government is going to go after that and they're going to nullify that because they consider that racism because you are unfairly targeting illegal immigration.
It didn't say whether they're Spanish, purple, pink, or what.
You know and I know, though, if you're illegal, you probably swam across the river.
Yep. I mean,
Or jumped or flew or something.
You know what Ford did today? They announced they're building a $1.8 billion
Mexico.
manufacturing facility where?
Mexico.
Mexico.
Yep.
My brother-in-law, Butch, he said he's had Fords forever.
Not anymore.
He said this is his last Ford. 200,000. He put 5 of them in the last 20 years. Over 200,000 miles on them. Now Ford said not long ago they weren't doing that.
Well, they lied.
Well, you know what I said? It might cut down on illegals coming.
Really?
Put them to work.
Yeah, no jest there. By the
I
way,
can tell you one thing: if they're building them cars in Mexico, I ain't buying no Ford.
the Mississippi Senate has passed constitutional carry,
Oh yes.
and it is off to the governor for signature. Now, folks, constitutional carry is the way we need to have it. That means that you are true Second Amendment. You carry it how you want, which is the way it should be, like in Vermont. Now, by the way, for those out there who are not keeping up with their history, the 13th Amendment that abolished slavery had 100 Republican supporters and only 23 Democrat, and the 19th Amendment that gave all men the right to vote had 100% Republican support and 0 Democrat.
Wow.
So these Democrats who are wanting to remove our Confederate heritage, here's the way they voted. There it is.
It's
Look out.
You look at Social Security. Who made all the changes in Social Security? Democrats.
Oh, by the way, I have the craziest quote of the day. Huma Abedin, Anthony Weiner's wife, who is Hillary's secretary, quoted.
Where's Yuma from?
Yeah, she's a Muslim.
Okay.
By the way, says that the first time she saw Hillary, she thought Hillary was so beautiful. Folks, that is immediate cause for psychiatric evaluation and possible placement in a long-term care facility for many years.
You saw the one with what the heck is that? The actor's name, where the one that's getting all the charges against him. Bill, what's his name? Bill, the black guy.
What are you talking about?
Well, they showed a picture of
Cosby.
Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby, of Michelle Obama,
One person he didn't do?
and he says he would have to take drugs before he.
Oh!
Oh, I saw that when I shared that. It's like-
And by the way, just before we close, 48% of the people approve of Obama's economy, and they're all on welfare.
yeah.
Yes, they're getting the free stuff. Oh, yes.
That's why
What
the
did
numbers
one
so
of the
high.
states just said that they have to work for their welfare now?
We'll see how long that lasts.
Well, we were Jindal actually did a good thing, and our buddy Dumbbell Edwards put it on hold for a year.
You heard about Richmond, California?
Hmm.
Is paying the young black kids.
Not to commit crimes?
Not to kill people.
Right. A lot of people are doing that.
$1,000. One
Oh,
guy
yeah.
got $1,300.
By the way,
Huh?
$1,300 check for $1,300.
of our money,
He decided not to kill some people who killed his friends.
Oh.
talking about something near and dear to your heart, the U.S. Senate average salary is $174,000 a year.
Yeah.
The average net worth of a senator is $1,600,000 average. Now, I know for a
After
fact.
1 year.
Yes, that's after 1 year. So, boy, the payoffs are pretty good. Since 2000, the number of people out of the workforce has risen by 14 million. Now, Obama, that wonderful bard of truth, justice, and the rule of law, claims that we have the lowest unemployment. He must have Common Core math in his history. That's what it
94
is.
million not working.
Well, they said that we've had a rise of 14.3 million since 2000.
Really?
Yes.
Where do you get that number?
It was on the net.
3
And-
minutes?
And by the way, California
Flies.
has gone to the $15 an hour minimum wage. Now, something interesting, the Mississippi governor over there, he's starting some controversy.
He really is.
He has signed the law that allows private businesses the right to refuse service to gays based on religious
Well,
grounds.
he's taking some heat on that baby.
Folks, if a person is a private business, they should be able to say who they will serve and not serve. It is not for the government to order a private business to service someone. If the folks are religious and they do not believe in the gay lifestyle, then they should not have to cater to it.
Doesn't matter what excuse.
The wife said, she clarified our Ford thing. They are still going to make cars in the U.S. They will be upper line vehicles, and Mexico plant will be lower grade vehicles, so no jobs will be lost in the U.S.
That's
Interesting.
correct. That's correct.
Wow.
Interesting.
Thank you.
And by the way, another issue very close and near and dear to Jim's heart. First 3 days of April, 28 people shot in Chicago. Democrat on Democrat violence. Isn't it lovely? Every place the Democrats run things, they're shooting each other. We don't need gun control, folks. We need Democrat control. We need to pass a law that it is illegal for Democrats to kill Democrats. It is amazing. It is amazing because therein lies the trouble. 98% of criminals, according to the FBI, are Democrats, and they're slaughtering each other in droves. Margaret Sanger is rolling over in the grave because her abortion policies are not nearly as successful as Democrat on Democrat violence. Amazing.
What do we got left? 1 minute?
Amazing.
I'll tell you what, you don't want to miss the meeting tomorrow night with
Oh, and one thing left that is in a serious vein. Folks, all of the police departments, whether they'll admit it or not, have been using a device called a stingray to unconstitutionally gather cell phone data. The Maryland Appeals Court has ruled that when police use a stingray device, they must have a warrant. Now that is going to put a big damper because they turn these stingray devices on. Any calls made, it tells you where the call was pinged from with no warrant. How do you like that?
Whoa.
Yep, they have
That's the
really,
first I heard of that.
they really stepped into it with this one because that is
Here's the
a,
thing, tomorrow night,
it's a big
Brent's
one.
gonna be covering a lot of this stuff,
oh yeah.
a little more in depth. I'm gonna try and get back from my meeting downtown at the library and give a report on that.
Now Jim, don't you be mean to the Anti-Christian Lawyers Union.
I'll
Be
try.
nice.
I'll try.
Don't take your medicine now.